Now there's a few things about this pattern. I'm not going to use everything. I've modified the pattern a little bit to make it a little bit simpler. So I am not going to use this part, and I'm not going to use the lining. You can use the lining if you would like to, but it's not necessary. We're going to use 2 fabrics, and that is what we're going to use. If you'd like to use interfacing, you can use this one if you're going to use interfacing to add to it, but we are just going to use this one here. So from here we just cut it out. I'm not a perfect seamstress or a perfect cutter, doesn't matter much. This one I'm demonstrating with is small kids, 3 to 6 years old, but we also have another pattern that is for older kids. That's 7 to 12 years old. This one fits my older kids, my 11-year-old to my 14-year-old. And this one I haven't done very many of because we don't fit them in our family, but it's the same technique. It's just a little bit smaller. This right here is to measure, to make sure that the printed paper is the right size. So basically this area here is supposed to be 2 inches wide, and so you can see that that's pretty close. 1, 2. So that's close enough for what we're doing. Just, it helps make it so you know that the pattern hasn't shrunk or enlarged when you printed it out. This line here, from here to here, is to go with the grain of the fabric. I found, unless you have a pattern that you want to keep running in the same direction, this isn't going to matter too much with the type of fabric that we're using. We're using 100% cotton, almost like quilting fabric. So that's what that's for. This dotted line is your seam allowance here. So that means they're giving you this much space to put in for your seams. So the actual size of the mask is going to be the dotted line. The rest of it is for seam allowance. This part over here is for enough space to put the elastic in. We may modify this a little bit because I find there's an easier way, but this can be done this way. Okay, so I'm just going to show you real quick how to get a bunch of out of the piece that we're going to give you, out of the size of fabric we're going to give you. So I like to, again, we're going to do it right sides together. The reason I do that is because then they're already ready to go to sew the seam that you're going to put on there. You don't have to flip them around or try to put them together the right way. They're just already ready. So we're going to outline. I'm using a marker because it's, well, first of all, it's washable, but second of all, it'll show up better than the pencil. So they're not exact. So this has a slightly curved side to it, but I don't really worry about that very much. I just go ahead and line it up to the side. It's not enough to affect it at all. So I just make it simple. There's no reason to make things difficult. So we're going to go along here like this. Sorry if you hear things in the background. Kids are watching Les Miserables. Then I just kind of do the same thing. We match it up on this side. Again, it's not 100% straight, and that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't really seem to make a difference when I make them, if it's totally straight to the pattern or if you go off a little bit, so don't stress about it. So that would be for 2, and then what I do is I flip them so that we get them as close together as possible. We use as use as little fabric as possible. As you can see, I've used this pattern a lot. Has lots of colors of marker around the edges. And then again on this side. Okay. So that's enough. So because they're double-sided, basically, you would need you need 4 pieces for a mask. So you could use the same color and cut out both of these. That would give you 4 pieces, and then that would be one mask, and this would be one mask. Or you can use one pink and one a different color if you wanted to make them double two-sided where they're different colors. You could use one. I do that a lot. But so that's basically it. Then you're gonna cut around this. If you need to, you can pin the fabric in place if you feel like it might move. But this cotton fabric, it doesn't move a lot. It's pretty good. It's pretty easy to work with. So cut them out. But this is basically the amount of fabric we're going to give you is enough to put 4 on there. Now this, the 7 to 12-year-old size. We also have a 3 to 6-year-old size. So the 3 to 6-year-old size is just slightly smaller. And so you're still probably only going to get the 4 out of this amount of fabric. Unless you get super creative, you might be able to do something different. But so we're going to give you that much fabric, basically from right on the edge. Fold it in half. Do your cutouts, and then you can continue on and do the rest of the sewing and like we have in the videos.